This is a former women's prison at Badambag in Kabul. It's been turned into a juvenile rehabilitation centre housing children the government says fought with the Taliban. We can't identify the children or staff because they fear reprisals, but the boys have either been charged or convicted of a range of activities including planting roadside explosive devices and attempted suicide bombing, offences they all deny. MOHAMMED is 16 and is serving a 5-year sentence for possessing a roadside bomb. He says he was framed by family enemies and claims he has no connection with the Taliban.
I have nothing to do with the Taliban. Bad people paid the police to frame me, but I did nothing.
This type of facility is the first of its kind in the country. It houses 34 detainees aged from 12 to 17, and they are part of a new strategy by the Afghan government to move from previous harsh detention conditions to a new, more compassionate approach aimed at winning hearts and minds.
We try and reverse the Taliban brainwashing. We are also using some of the same techniques, but they only explain to the kids one side, and we explain through education both sides and try to tell them that everything that they've been told is not true.
Once these were cells and now they're classrooms. Boys are taught to read and write here and given an education they otherwise wouldn't get. It's designed to show what life is like away from Taliban control. In many ways, they are more fortunate than children detained in other parts of the country.
I am studying and I'm getting to know all about good things now. When I am released, I will continue with my life.
Some of the juvenile centres have reasonable living conditions, but we get reports of abuse in some of them. And because of a lack of education, there is knife violence and sexual abuse.
Officials say these methods are proving successful in 80% of cases, but some would argue that the inmates have no choice but to comply. But there are no guarantees that once they leave here, they won't succumb to the pressures and circumstances that led them here in the first place. Lack of food and prospects can be a driving force behind a young boy's thinking. And with the dire conditions in many parts of rural Afghanistan, it will not be difficult for the Taliban to find willing recruits. There are concerns if these new government methods don't work, these teenagers could pose a threat in the future, not only in Afghanistan, but also other countries too.
Suicide attacks are a global threat, not just to Afghanistan. And if we don't stop them here, then they can happen in other countries, as we have seen.
It's hard to imagine watching them play volleyball, that these boys' lives have been so marred by violence. Like many others, they've lost more than their freedom. They have also lost their youth. Tony Birtley, Al Jazeera, Kabul.